So there's this guy, and he has a big fear of heights. And one day, his friends pressure him into going bungee jumping. And as he's at the top and he's getting strapped in, ready to jump off soon, he looks behind him and notices a very beautiful girl waiting for her turn in line. He's thinking about backing out at that last moment, but then when he sees the girl, he decides to jump because he doesn't want her to think that he's a sissy. Well, the guy experiences two forms of fear. One, a physical form of fear, the jumping, and the next, an emotional fear, the fear of being seen as weak or as a sissy by the girl. We all know what it's like to experience fear at least some point in life. It can come in the form of doubt, anxiety, worry, apprehension, stress, and so on. Fear is deeply embedded in our psychology and in our ideologies. I can think of an obvious example. Why do a lot of people decide to go to college? I would say that it's based on the fear of having a future without a college education. Or I can think of another example. Why are we all here in this classroom right now? I'm sure a lot of us took this class to get over our fear of speaking in front of groups of people. There are a few different ways in which to understand fear. The first way that I'm going to start off with is to recognize it as a natural occurrence. If we look at the animal kingdom, we can see the fight or flight instinct, which is something that humans have as well as animals. When we're afraid, an action takes place, either it's fleeing the scene or fighting. Walter Bradford Cannon was the one who first came up with the fight or flight theory. What happens is that the sympathetic nervous system becomes activated because of a perceived threat. And when this happens, the heart accelerates, pupils may dilate, the face might become flushed or even pale, all in preparation to either fight or flee the scene. It's something that humans and animals have in common. But what's very interesting is that there's a second part to this. Because humans are able to conceptualize the past, present, and future, it brings a whole new element of fear into the ballpark. No longer are we just reacting to perceived threats in the present moment, but we're creating ideas of what we fear for the future. And that in turn influences the present moment. This is oftentimes based on things that have happened in the past, but these also might be based on things that haven't even happened to us personally, based on some kind of collective idea of things that we should be afraid of. We can also see how this is implemented in the ideologies of government, such as law. Laws are basically a collective ruling based on things that have happened in the past to then prevent them from happening in the future or present moment. Under the definition of fear, it says that fear obscures reason, intensifies emotions, and makes it easier for politicians to mobilize the public on behalf of the policies they want. So basically what I'm saying is that fear is often used to manipulate people, especially in politics or in law. As humans, we not only try to protect ourselves physically, but we also try to protect ourselves emotionally in response to fear, and this is what creates it. Someone who has been abandoned a lot in the past, they might have a fear of abandonment. And what people sometimes fail to recognize is that fear perpetuates itself. For example, the person who has a fear of abandonment probably focuses on how they don't want to be abandoned all the time. Therefore, the energy spent focusing on what they don't want to be abandoned and the fear of being abandoned actually makes it more likely to happen. And I'm not just saying this from my own personal perspective. I'm actually getting this from, there are studies that prove this. This is out of a communications book. What you think about and focus on is more likely to happen. And, Anyway, what you think about and focus on is more likely to happen. This is a real phenomena. Lastly, I would like to bring up that some people see fear as a created illusion. Basically, it's the idea that fear itself is an illusory perception. It's based off the belief that someone or something outside ourselves can harm us or destroy peace of mind. The idea is that we create our own fears, and in creating the fear, we perpetuate it. Without someone fearing something, the fear doesn't exist. And I'm thinking about this more on the emotional aspects of fear, such as fear of failure, social fear, fear of being emotionally hurt, like the example I just used. We are the ones who bring the fear to life with our thoughts. So as you can see, there are multiple ways in which to understand fear. It's something natural, as well as something that we create in our own minds. We're born with the natural responses to fear, yet we also perpetuate it with our ideas in life and how it's used. So is there anything to fear? I'll leave that question to you.